It is a bit dynamic topic, and again it has relevance in 4 papers. 2 here, 2 there. And RTI is the single most important topic for GS paper 4. Right. It is the only topic from where they have asked most of the time questions in ethics paper, which we are not using. And like say RTI and official secretary, that also they have asked. In ethics paper, we expected in GS paper 2nd, but they asked in, right. वहाँ कम पड़ गया होगा question. So कहीं भी आना चाहिए. This. They have asked 2 times RTI related case studies in ethics paper. Now, in public administration, they have asked that question. Whether RTI has affected efficiency? No. It has also been asked in ethics paper. That question also they have asked in ethics paper. Whether RTI has affected efficiency in administration, although it was a public administration oriented question. And that question also I told they asked, RTI has not only brought change in the concept of accountability, but also RTI has not only empowered people, but it has also brought change in the concept of accountability. That was public administration question in 2007, which they asked in 2017 in ethics paper. Yes. So, plus we have been expecting, this has been asked in paper 2nd, GS paper 2nd, this amendment wala question, whether anything is left after RTI amendment in RTI, isn't it? Government amended in 2019. Since they are all applied in nature, so we presume and teach for paper 2nd in public administration. Or you should be aware about them. That is how. Should be aware about them. And it's not about that you have opted only for public administration, you opted for benefiting in GS also. This. Anyhow, these are changing things which we have. So, but we don't expect this. Yes, we expect since they have asked this question, they have asked this question. They have asked this question. So then we expect rest. We expect question on this, especially related to its scope. And we expect a question on whistleblowing related. That will be in paper 2nd if at all, be it GS paper public administration or paper 4. Paper 2nd they will ask based on concepts. This is the concept part. And this is the application part. What people do in paper 1 when they ask? Application part. Pure GS type answer. They forget for some time that they are writing in public administration. Or we wonder at times that whether we are checking public administration copy. Because they will write purely Indian oriented. Unmindful of this कि तो public admin answer में लिख रहा हूँ. Which paper 1 conceptual development it has. There is concept as we told about citizen charter. Citizen charter has a concept. Concept is that it is about relationship between citizen and administration. And that relation it has not evolved only in India. It started, let's say that in UK. So that way we have to understand that. Anyhow. So they like citizen charter. We'll also talk about RTI and transparency. Just to give an overview. See, transparency simply means that the government should be accessible to people, especially its decision. When government decisions are accessible to people, people know about the government decisions. That government is an open government. How people will know that decision? So traditionally when we did not have RTI, so how people know about the government? They know government by the newspaper, media promotes transparency. Government itself has a habit of disclosing its own information, press release, publications, annual reports. This, like India you read, economic survey you read, some other things that you read. So government itself is trying to, let's say, promote by disclosing information and bringing that information in public domain. The more you bring information in public domain, the more you are open. This is how. Traditionally it was done. However, let's say that traditional way of doing transparency was not adequate. The modern democracy found a tool called Right to Information Act. And that Right to Information Act is about that the people have right to know in democracy, since democracy is ruled by people. And ruled by people, so people cannot rule, rule effectively unless people are knowledgeable. And those knowledgeable people, let's say that people will become knowledgeable when government will share information. Yes. The people will become knowledgeable when share information. This, that is how you can say, and knowledge is power. Right. Knowledge is power, but here will not write power corrupts. Rather will say that when information is shared with people, knowledge is shared with people. And when knowledge is shared with people, it results into shared governance. It results into shared governance. That's why in advanced democracies, Western society, government cannot make citizens fool. But governments in our country can make citizens big fool, not only fool. Isn't it? The government told to parliament he did not have data related to COVID. Right. After a few years, it will be told that COVID India में आया ही नहीं था. Right. Isn't it? So you can make people fool by this. This World Health Organization gave a report. And what it reported? How many lakhs people had COVID in India? 40. 40? 40 lakhs. Yes. 40 lakh people died. World Health Organization. Do you know that? गवर्नमेंट ने पहले सोचा उसको डराने के लिए. वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, they played their own politics so that they should not bring report, but finally report was brought. Government data says how many lakh people died, and World Health Organization says 40 lakh. Then government questioned the methodology. ठीक है, अब क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं उनका मेथोडोलॉजी, इसलिए कि कोई जानता नहीं मेथोडोलॉजी क्या है. Right. So आपको जानना पड़ेगा, तो कोई जानना नहीं चाहता, तो then you can say कि methodology is wrong. Right. So this way you can consider. So it is a kind of fooling people. This information, because information is very important. How it is important? Let's say that कि COVID में आपने ये बोल दिया कि data नहीं है. But you have not prepared. States have also not prepared. Now you have to do any research. Suppose you want to do any research on that. What do you do? क्या पाकिस्तान से लोगे data? Right. So you don't have data. This, or the research that you will conduct and that data will also be questioned. It will affect policy making. That has already affected. गवर्नमेंट प्रॉमिस ड्यूरिंग कोविड टाइम, जब इमोशंस थोड़े से ज्यादा था, मान लो सैड एनवायरनमेंट था, तो गवर्नमेंट ने सिंपैथी दिखाया, कंपैशन दिखाया और बोला कि वी विल गिव यू कंपनसेशन. कंपनसेशन विल बी गिवन. दोज हु डाइड, देयर नियर डियर्स विल बी गिवन कंपनसेशन. उस समय नहीं बोला कितना कंपनसेशन, बोला कंपनसेशन मिलेगा, टेंशन नहीं लेना है. अब कोविड मान लो थोड़ा सा सबसाइड हो गया, अब टाइम आ गया कंपनसेशन देने का. नहीं, तो गवर्नमेंट ने बोला डेटा ही नहीं. And it started doubting on those people who died out of COVID. They know he died because of other reasons, not because of COVID. अब वो केस फाइट करेगा तो 50,000 मिलेगा और 50,000 इधर ही एफिडेविट में ही दे देगा. This is how it happens. Information, data. Why we are saying information, data, very important. Anyhow, what happened that I was talking positive aspect. The transparency, it is about that in modern times, democracy, as we were talking about citizen charter. The citizen charter, as we told the rationale behind that. Citizens are king, government is master. Similarly, here democracy you have, so that democracy is ruled by people. It was presumed that representatives will govern on behalf of people effectively, but you know that representatives have not been governing the way it was expected. Ultimately, it is taxpayers' money. Hence, taxpayers have right to know how that money has been spent. No, the way your parents have right to know how you are spending in Delhi. Is it like that? Anyhow, they are not harsh, very soft for you. So, they have right to know, they should have right to know that how the money has been spent. This is very simple. Since government is utilizing public money in any such activity, so people have right to know this decision you have taken, so whether it is in our interest, right, and whether that money you are spending, it has served public interest or any such cause. That is how RTI logic behind. So, democracy cannot be ruled effectively unless people are knowledgeable and the government shares the knowledge, means shares the information, and it will result into shared governance. That is how Mary Parker Fuller talks about power with, not power over. It is in a kind of also RTI brings power with rather than power over. This is the one aspect of the story of this. The second aspect of the story of this, which is inspired, the first is also inspired that governments have brought their certain mechanisms to promote secrecy and protect their failures. This. All across the world, governments started bringing this official secret act. Yes, it is not feature of only Indian democracy. All across the country, they will find they have official secret act. And that official secret act protects secrecy of the government information. Then you have oath of secrecy. There is called oath of secrecy. Government has developed such mechanism and then it classifies the information. Even courts को भी नहीं share करते हैं. Isn't it? आजकल क्या जाता है? Right. वो sealed cover. Right. Sealed envelope. Right. So sealed envelope में उसमें पता नहीं information होता है कि पैसा होता है. Right. We are not. Right. क्या पता पैसा भी होता होगा. Check. Right. Right. So we are not aware, isn't it? हो सकता है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कोड्स होता होगा पैसा ट्रांजैक्शन The government is, let's say, that is giving sealed cover. Right? So sealed cover means other parties should not know. Only judges should know. Right? This. Do you know a PIL has been filed in the Supreme Court to conduct investigation against Chief Justice? Whether he has a link with anti-nationalist in the country. The PIL was dismissed, by the way. Right. Anyhow. So that's a different story. So information, you can say that. So governments have the habit to become powerful. That is how government becomes powerful. Why government in our country is very powerful and a government in US is not powerful? Powerful in the context of their people. People are knowledgeable. जितना प्राइम मिनिस्टर को आता है उतना ही उस पब्लिक को भी आता है जो खड़ा है साथ में. उससे ज्यादा ही आता होगा उसको. ऐसे ऐसे लोग हैं. प्रोटेस्टर्स, दे नो हाउ टू सेव देमसेल्फ. भागते ही नहीं वो. राइट. पुलिस के साथ चलते. ऑब्जर्व देयर प्रोटेस्ट एंड पुलिस भागते नहीं हो जबकि पुलिस के पास सब कुछ है बट इस पुलिस ऑल्सो डज नॉट बीट and they also do not run away. Yes. And then in our country, right. इतना में तो फायरिंग वगैरह हो जाएगा right. So you'll do firing, right. This is what you'll find the difference, let's say, because the other side people are also equally knowledgeable. This, they are knowledgeable. They know their rights. They know about the governments, etc. That is how the difference will find. So if more and more people are knowledgeable in a society, greater, let's say, that you can find that effective relation between government and the governed. Yes. And that is how there will be more and more shared governance. So RTI is not merely about just seeking information. The way Citizen Charter is not merely about a set of services. There is a philosophy behind this. And the philosophy is this, that there should be, let's say, people should be informed, knowledgeable, and then they will be able to exercise control on government. And we told yesterday, truth, it's truth, Ram Raj. So what is that truth? Truth is related to information. This information, let's say. Basically, what you are trying to do is you are in search of truth, whether Prime Minister degree is correct or incorrect, isn't it? Whether Manish Sisodia is involved in corruption, not involved in corruption. Whether Rahul Gandhi, so he should be qualified, disqualified, isn't it? So basically, everything is reduced to certain facts or information, which is called knowledge. Right? And if there is truth, basically when you are seeking information behind any such scheme and program and decision, you want to know truth. You want to know truth. And if government gives you right information, it wants you to know truth. And if government gives fabricated information, it is itself destroying truth. This you have to understand. So when COVID related data, so you do not want to malign the image of the government. ये नहीं कि कल को डेटा लेके पहुंच जाओगे गवर्नमेंट के यहाँ. Just you want to know कि how many people, let's say that, कि died, how many people were affected, just for your sense of curiosity. Right? Because whatever you know, many a time it is, let's say, doubted. You say something, the other side or the person will say, is it correct? Do you have correct information? Right, then you start thinking. So it's all about also truth. So behind RTI there is truth, and truth is also a sense of governance. An investigating agency is doing nothing but trying to establish truth, whether this incident happened or not, and who did it. That is the how basic aspect. So you are trying to establish truth, and if you establish truth, there is justice. If you know truth, government shares the truth, there is trust. You can have trust in the government. This. So, it should not be seen just only a merely act of information. It is just information. This is how the rationale behind RTI. Then, let's say that the third rationale will come with bureaucracy, or second with self you can link. Since we are applying in the field of administration. And you know that bureaucracy, so remember what Max Weber said. That power is heart of administration. This. And bureaucracy is nothing but an act of exercise of authority. RTI says that thoda authority hame bhi dijiye. Isn't it? This simply it says, isn't it? Thoda authority hamare paas bhi hona chahiye. The day you start sharing authority, your dominance reduces. Because administration is an act of dominance. Max Weber says. The day you share information, they will also dominate. So then let's dominate together. Dominate together means govern together. So this way we have to understand this background. Then we have to tell how it has been brought, countries, etc. as India practice, blah blah things. Let's write off this. Right. transparency in RTI, have become a modern development, which aim at improving not only quality of governance, but also empowering people for shared governance. Empowering people for shared governance. Shared governance. Corruption thrives at secret places and avoids open places. Avoids open places. It means that knowledge is very old. Yes, Woodrow Wilson that time talks. Even James Madison also talked. That statement also will tell you. Let's add further. RTI has become the most potent tool to promote transparency. The most potent tool to promote transparency. And today, more than 100 countries have RTI. Today, more than 100 countries have RTI. Both globalization and governance have promoted transparency in RTI. That World Bank in its governance and development report, 1992, considered transparency as one of the four important components of governance. Four components of governance. It has also become an important characteristics of good governance. It's defining transparency. Transparency is about an inside government, outside. Within that, when government decisions are accessible to people, 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 when And government decisions are accessible to people. Accessible to people. It is considered as an open government. Open government. The government should share its information related to decisions to public through press release, economics press release, annual reports, publications, etc. But now RTI has become the most important tool for sharing information to public. Rationales behind promotion of transparency and RTI. Promotion of transparency and RTI. There are three major rationales which are interrelated. There are three major rationales which are interrelated. Three major rationales which are interrelated. Right, like first, there are three major rationales which are interrelated. Like first, democracy. Second, traditional administration. And next, governance. That's right. In case of democracy, it is ruled by people, but people are ruled through their representatives. By taxpayers' money. Hence, people have right to know. In democracy. People have right to know in democracy about utilization of taxpayers' money. Even United Nations has recognized right to know, right to information as one human right, as one basic human right. It has also been recognized as a fundamental right of citizen in democracy. Because only knowledgeable citizens can can exercise effective control over government. Can exercise effective control over government. Next, traditional administration. Next point, traditional administration. Traditional administration invented secrecy. Secrecy, like Official Secret Act and secrecy in bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. That is, state even adopted a law. State even adopted a law to promote secrecy. Secrecy, which was a sort of hiding government failures. Hiding government failures. 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 It was also linked to knowledge. Knowledge that government was powerful because it has control over information. Government was powerful because it had control over information. Information. As knowledge is power. As knowledge is power. Hence, the idea was to share this power with citizens. To share this power with citizens by sharing information. By sharing information. By sharing information. Next, governance. Governance. The contemporary development. Governance. The contemporary development is that government cannot govern alone. It must govern together. The contemporary development is that government cannot govern. The government cannot govern alone. It must govern together. Even if traditional administration was not a complete failure, but government should adopt power with approach. Government should adopt power with approach which demands sharing information with people. Which demands sharing information with people. Demands sharing information with people. And hence transparency has become one of the important characteristics of contemporary governance. Contemporary governance. It is also now a basic standard. It is also now a basic standard to evaluate any government. To evaluate any government. In nutshell, it can be said that transparency has become an essential characteristics for democracy, governance, and bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, which is promoted through Democracy, governance and bureaucracy which is promoted through RTI. Promoted through RTI. So it is clear so far. So let's write about next. RTI. About RTI. Right to information. Right to information has become one democratic right of citizens. Democratic right of citizens. Which more than 100 countries have adopted largely through a statute. Very few countries have constitutional status. Like Sweden and South Africa. It has evolved as follows. Let's say that although it started in 1766. It started in 1766 in Sweden. But but emphasis on RTI and transparency. It started during 1990s. 1990s through World Bank, globalization, and concept of good governance. In India also a resolution was adopted. A resolution was adopted for responsible and responsive government. In 1996 and 1997. 1996, 1997. That's right. RTI in India. RTI in India. Although it was adopted in 2005, and it has completed more than 15 years. It has completed more than 15 years of its implementation. 15 years of implementation. But emphasis on RTI started. Emphasis on RTI started during 1970s and 80s. 1970s and 80s. And there were developments. So, when we talk about its evolution, although you know that now 2005 onwards, you have to know past does not matter. But already there was building of process for transparency, and you know that the NDA government, Vajpayee government adopted Freedom of Information Act 2002. This already a law was enacted which name was Freedom of Information Act, but it was not notified. Law was already made, but it was not notified. It was UPA government which when came to power, so it has redrafted the bill, and that is how they passed that bill and they brought into effect. Before that also, VP Singh government, Janata government, they had promised that when they would come to power, they would have open government. Right? Everything will be threadbare. दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी. Sorry to say that. दोनों को मिला दो, दूध और पानी. Anyhow, that is in midday meal. So, the question will find MKS, Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan. You remember, it will help you when you will take social audit. So it started public hearing in 1994. In social audit, I will elaborate it. Here it is not written. Just know the reference that it was also the civil society also started promoting RTI, means openness in the government, through public hearing. And then Supreme Court has also told in several cases that RTI is also a fundamental right as per Article 19(1)(a). Yes. So we had such developments before enactment of RTI. Now let's see. Features of RTI Act 2005. Features of RTI Act 2005. First, it gives legal right to every citizen to seek public information from public agencies. It gives legal right to every citizen. It gives legal right to every citizen to seek public information from public agencies. To seek public information from public agencies. Next, it defines information. It defines information and including process of seeking information. Process of seeking information. And in case of failure, institutional mechanism for grievance redressal. Institutional mechanism for grievance redressal. Grievance redressal. Right. Next. Next is it defines public authority. It defines public authority under section 2H. 2H. H is small. 2H. Next. As per section 4, there should be pro-disclosure of information. There should be proactive disclosure of information. Section 4, there should be proactive disclosure of information. Next, it gives RTI overriding power. It gives RTI overriding power on Official Secret Act. Official Secret Act. Next, under section 8, it has some exceptions. Under section 8, it has some exceptions. On which RTI will not apply. RTI will not apply. That within that, first, some category of information. Some categories of information would be outside purview of RTI. Outside purview of RTI. RTI, like security, public order. Security, public order. Foreign friendly relations. Foreign friendly relations. Commercial contracts. Commercial contracts. Next, some institutions are also not under purview. Some institutions are also not under purview. like intelligence agencies and paramilitary forces. Intelligence agencies and paramilitary forces. Paramilitary forces. Significance. Significance. Right. Significance. First, ARC second considers RTI law as the second most important legislation after independence. Second most important law after independence. The first was Constitution. Second, it has marked the era of beginning of light. It has marked the era of beginning of light. Fluorescent light, and ended era of darkness. Ended era of darkness. Right. Right. ये सब हेल्प करेगा. देखो आंसर्स क्या है? इमोशंस. You play with emotions. Rhetorical answer, wrong answer, but Maslow type answer. Right. Most wrong theory, but most popular theory. Most wrong answer, but best answer. No. The examiner, after giving marks, at home he realizes. No. So ये इमोशंस है, तो तब ये हेल्प करता है. आप नहीं लिखते हैं, बच्चे नहीं लिखते हैं. They don't write. They forget by that time. बस वो याद रहे कि ये कॉपी था हमारा, वही कॉपी है. नो, आप ही का कॉपी होगा ना, मार्केट से तो लाया नहीं होगा. वैसे तो हो ही गया होगा 6-7. How many copies you have? 6th. तो पहले का क्या कंडीशन है? कहाँ है वो? एयर कंडीशन में है. राइट. कि म्यूजियम में रख के आ गए. ठीक है. So let's write on this. So if it is, let's say, metaphorical type of things, talking, it marks the beginning of era of light, ends the era of darkness. No, it is second most important legislation. This significance का यही मतलब होता है, जितना बढ़ाना है. जब भी किसी आंसर में सिग्निफिकेंस होना तो समझ लो क्या करना है. राइट. फेंकना है जितना हमने प्राइम मिनिस्टर से सीखा है. So let's और नहीं तो क्या. राइट. अच्छा है, कुछ लोगों को नहीं सुनना चाहिए. राइट. Anyhow, so what you are saying? Subhash Agrawal. Next. Subhash Agrawal. He has the record of seeking highest number of RTI. Having the record of applying highest number of RTI applications in India. More than 90,000. More than 90,000. Yes, 90,000. ये भी पुराना रिकॉर्ड है, अभी तो वो 1 लाख क्रॉस कर गया होगा. Right. Let's say he remarked. RTI has liberated people for the second time. RTI has liberated people for the second time. First time, independence. Yes. So this is how the significance of RTI. Right? अभी और भी points है. Significance means that the law or the transparency. The law or transparency become basis, as we told you that you are on your toe, isn't it? आधार हमारा वो कैंसिल कर देगा. But that day I was on my toe. Right. One day I will bring him on toe. No, when I will apply RTI, कितने लोगों का कैंसिल किया है? Isn't it? Usually in a year, how many people, let's say, you reject? I need information. Yes. So then he will be on his this toes, let's say that. This is how I can say. RTI activists, you should know that when they go in office, they get good reception. They are, let's say, respected. They are given proper seat. There they can say, let's say that rest, tea, etc. so that they can be convinced, right? What? Not to seek information. So, because you know that RTI is the basis to, so far, why it is significant? So far, citizens have been put on their toes. But RTI is a tool that they can put any administration on its toes. Even the government also. Government also for some time will feel exposed, feel humiliated. Its image will be affected. Because you get RTI and then RTI results into, it is the RTI which has brought government, that electoral bond. Electoral bond on which government was asked, in parliament government gave the details in parliament that RBI and Election Commission of India both supported electoral bond. After 1 and 2 years, someone applied information. By the time they may have forgotten कि क्या बोला था. And by RTI, you came to know that Election Commission also had objected. And RBI told that it would be like giving a blank check. This is RBI view. And once the RTI activist gets the information, then it results into a PIL in Supreme Court. And electoral bond is also case pending. It is under, let's say, challenge. That is how RTI can be, basis. That is what it is significant. Plus, yes, we have told you that power plus discretion minus corruption. So, when you have this RTI will create check on this. RTI reduces discretions. This you should know. RTI reduces discretion. RTI, let's say that results into a check or something, responsiveness. So, a scheme that you want to implement 2 days later, you know that if someone can apply RTI, you will go for timely implementation. Or at least you will maintain the record properly. So, proper record maintenance, timeliness, proactiveness, this responsiveness, responsibility, minimization of discretions, their misuse. So this is how RTI has the significance, other significance. Simple, RTI has the potential to reduce corruption and promote clean governance, bring participation of the citizens in the process of governance, and make democracy more participative, more citizen-centric. This, and that is how we have to write more on significant sides.